Are there really alligators everywhere in Florida? In this video series, I'm sharing all about the dark sides of living in Tampa Bay. I'm not holding back or sugarcoating anything, so I'm breaking this into a 6-part video series, and this is part 2. But this series covers all the bad things about Florida. So I'm talking like hurricanes and flooding, bugs, alligators, overcrowding, heat and humidity, and I even talk about whether or not the Florida man is real. And I'll go ahead and link that series if you want to check out the other videos. By the way, my name is Shay Green with Impact Realty Tampa Bay. If you have any Tampa area related real estate questions, I'd be happy to help you out. Go ahead and shoot me an email or give me a call. So in this video, I'm talking all about the wildlife that I've experienced since moving to Tampa. So I'm talking about things like gators, bugs, and other reptiles. So I moved to Tampa Bay several years ago from Salt Lake City, Utah. And before I moved here, I was pretty worried that I would just see gators everywhere, like, walking down the street, going to the beach, if I was ever kayaking, any body of water that I'd see a gator. And that's actually not the case. I've actually only seen a gator in the wild once since living here, and I do kayak quite a bit. So maybe there's more gators in other parts of Florida, but you just don't see them everywhere here. Now, if you do live really close to a waterway like a canal or a lake, there is potential that you would see more gators, and also that you would see gators actually come into your yard. So I definitely expected to see more gators here, but I've only seen them really in like nature preserves or at the zoo, places that I expected to see them, and only once have I been surprised to see a gator here, and that's because I was kayaking. Okay, so let's talk about the bugs. I've definitely seen a ton of bugs since moving here. The worst bugs, in my opinion, are roaches, which I know anywhere in the country can get cockroaches, but because of Florida's climate, there are just a lot more bugs here year-round. And I'm actually terrified of roaches. I'm not really scared of reptiles, like I will hold snakes or lizards, but if I come across a roach, I will scream and freak out. So I actually was terrified of coming across a ton of bugs here. And I've been extremely fortunate because I've been really proactive with pest control, and I've actually only experienced a handful of roaches inside while living in Florida. So because I'm so scared of bugs, I took pest control into my own hands, and I did a ton of research about pest control and the different options that are available. And I now have a really stringent pest control routine that I personally use that has prevented a ton of bugs. Some people say that getting roaches inside your house regularly is inevitable in Florida, but I think there are so many things you can do to greatly reduce the amount of bugs that you'll come across. So if you're interested in what I use for pest control, go ahead and reach out. Speaking of bugs, you're also going to come across a lot of mosquitoes and no-see-ums. So no-see-ums are these tiny biting gnats that you can't really see, but their bites are so much itchier than mosquito bites. So you'll definitely want to be prepared and use a ton of bug spray if you're going anywhere near the water or where there's a high likelihood of mosquitoes and no-see-ums. Okay, and lastly, I want to share my experience with the other wildlife that I've seen here. So because Florida is a subtropical climate, there's actually so much more wildlife here than I was expecting. Something I wasn't expecting is there are lizards everywhere here in the summer. They're pretty small. There's a couple different kinds of lizards and geckos that you'll just see around, especially if you have a pool. You might see them out by the pool or just in your yard. I did not expect to see so many lizards before moving here, but I'm actually glad when I have a lot of lizards in my yard because they eat the bugs, so I'm happy that they're there. But if you're not careful about keeping your doors closed, lizards can get into your house, which can be an interesting experience to try to chase them down and catch them. So just a heads up. Lastly, I have come across quite a few frogs and an occasional snake. So I debated whether or not to share this story because this could be terrifying to some people, but just last week I actually found a baby snake in my house. It was just curled up by my blanket. I've actually only seen a handful of snakes, so I was so surprised to see a snake inside the house. but it can happen, so I just want to show you guys the reality of living in Florida. But to me, it's absolutely worth it, and it's just something that comes with living in a super warm place. So thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and check out the other videos in this series if you're interested in more downsides of living in Florida. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have any real estate questions. You can shoot me a text or send me an email. See ya.